Here are 3 things that they won't tell you about investing in treasury bonds. Is investing in bonds a trap that was meant to keep people in the rat race? I have watched a fair couple of videos and teachings on investing in bonds, and there are a few things that, if not addressed, will leave you poorer than you started. And the first point they won't tell you is that your invested money is actually losing value. This is courtesy of the animal known as inflation. This is an easily ignored beast that wakes up each day to eat away the value of your money. I think I have mentioned before that life is not becoming tough, but our money is actually losing value. Yet we didn't learn how to grow it to manage the current needs. It's not that things are becoming expensive currently, it's that the purchasing value of your money isn't as strong as it used to be. So when you invest in a long-term bond, say 10 years or more, considering that you will cash out the same amount at maturity, the value of your 1 million or 100k will not be the same value it is right now when that maturity comes. So yes, you will cash out the same 100k or 1 million, but let me show you how much that will be worth at that point. If you invest 1 million for 10 years, the value you will cash out then will be valued at 913 shillings, considering an average inflation rate of 5%. So for 15 years, the value will be 481,017 shillings. And for 20 years, it will be 376,889 valued at current rate. In my opinion, this is daylight robbery, especially if you're falling for the following points that I'm about to share with you. But stay with me because I'll also give you a solution as well. So the second thing that they won't tell you is that the cash flow that you get from the bond through interest is not financial freedom. Don't be lied to. And this is simply because it has an expiry date to it. There is no indefinite bond that does not mature. They all have a timeline to mature, and someday, whether you like it or not, the money will be sent back to your account. Now watch this. I'm sure you have heard about stacking bonds, yes? Or something they call bond laddering, as commonly referred to, which is supposed to ensure that you have bonds that pay you interest every month throughout the year. This sounds super brilliant and has some magic that fixes your money problems until you investigate it further. Of course, you'll come up with a target and then find bonds that will be returning a certain amount equivalent or more than your target, and you're good to go. The problem here is that you are consuming the interest from your bonds. Whether it's to pay rent or finance your lifestyle, there's a day that this bond will mature and it will stop paying. Now, using the first point that we've talked about as an example, then you already know where the problem is. Inflation is eroding the value of your invested bond money, and 10 years or 20 years from now, when the money will be sent back to you, it will be super low value that it won't be able to give you anything substantial, and your utopia of having the bonds pay your expenses will collapse into the blues. I do not purport that this plan won't fix you in the short term, but would you rather act financially free for 10 years or so while losing your hard-earned money in the process, or you'd rather work to achieve real financial freedom? You see, investing in assets that keep paying you, whether they are physical or paper assets, while on the other hand, they are also still appreciating in value, is some underrated genius that I challenge you to pursue. And this brings me to the third and last point that they won't tell you. Of course, for the obvious reasons already covered in point 1 and point 2 that we've already spoken about, and that is that you shouldn't consume or eat your bond interest. I know I've already mentioned that the danger of eating your interest from these bonds, and I've already told you how it exposes you badly to currency devaluation, but let me put some clarification at this point. Does it mean that you should not invest in bonds? No, that's not what I'm saying. But if you intend to eat the interest, then I highly discourage you from taking that route. Kabisa. Interest earned from bonds should be reinvested in other avenues. It should be treated as a seed and not as returns. It should by all means be invested or planted as soon as it hits your account every 6 months. This will create an opportunity to grow the value of your money or the principal cash. Ensure that you invest it in an interest-bearing asset or in an income-generating asset that allows you to reinvest or put it in a business or a physical income generating asset. As fancy as the title we see, like I pay rent using my bonds and the likes do sound, do not fall for that. If you have to eat your interest for one reason or the other, please make sure that you do not touch anything above half of your interest. Let me explain why you shouldn't touch more than half of this interest. So assuming the coupon rate from your bond is 14% and inflation is at about 6%. So actually the return is 14 minus 6, that is 8%. So basically inflation is consuming a big portion of your return. Therefore, retaining more than half of these stores the value of your money. So consuming it all is like cutting your flesh kidogo kidogo and eating it anytime that you receive your interest. And now you see the problem with that is that with time, you would have already eaten your entire body, like literally. Well, 3 bonus things that you should know with bonds: you cannot top up, you cannot reinvest the interest in the same bond, and you cannot liquidate your money before maturity unless you are disposing it off through the secondary market, which might mean that you sell them at a loss. But still, bonds are a great instrument if well calculated and used correctly. You can actually stack them up, ladder them, but let them pay your bills, but ensure that you are only consuming below half of the interest and strictly investing the remaining portion. Otherwise, see you in the next one.